Let me tell you something real. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about how tired you are, how many times you've been betrayed, how often you've been overlooked, underestimated, or pushed to the side. Life, it doesn't hand out mercy for free. But here's the truth. You were never meant to blend in. You were built to stand out. And if you're going to survive in this world, if you're going to win in this world, you better learn how to outsmart it. You better learn how to outsmart it. I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm not talking about being sneaky or cruel. I'm talking about moving different, thinking sharper, living smarter, the kind of wisdom that comes from scars, from nights where you had to cry alone, from days where all you had was hope and a backbone made of steel. You want total dominance? You want to walk in a room and know that no one can play you? Then listen close, because I'm about to give you 5 rules that will change your life forever. 5 rules that separate the forgotten from the legendary. And if you live by them, you'll never be anybody's fool again. Number 1, control your emotions before they control you. Let me ask you something deep. How many times have you lost something valuable? An opportunity, a relationship, your dignity? Not because of what someone else did, but because of how you reacted. Be honest with yourself. You see, emotions, they're powerful, but they can be poisoned if you don't learn how to manage them. A man who can't control his anger, his fear, his insecurity, he becomes a puppet, not a player. Life tugs at those strings, people tug at those strings, and before he knows it, he's dancing to a tune he never wrote. But the one who has discipline over his emotions, that's a dangerous soul. That's a man who's seen storms, but still walks like the sun shines only for him. You've got to get to a place where you feel everything, but you respond to nothing, unless it's on your terms. Control doesn't mean being numb. It means being wise. It means not letting someone's disrespect pull you into chaos. You don't respond to every bark. You are the lion. Lions don't flinch when small dogs bark. You don't defend your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't let someone else's poison become your mindset. If someone disrespects you, you observe, you calculate, and you respond when you're ready, if it's even worth it. Because when you let your emotions decide your actions, you give your power away. That's what average people do. And you're not average. You're not here to be predictable. You're here to rise, to lead, to dominate without losing your peace. You ever notice how the most dangerous individuals in any room are the calmest? That's not a coincidence. Stillness is a weapon. Composure is control. While others are swinging wild with emotion, throwing punches with no aim, you stand still and you watch. You learn. You strike when the time is right. The loudest one in the room is rarely the most powerful, but the one sitting silently watching, listening, reading the energy, that's the one you better not ignore. Be that person. People should never know what rattles you. Never let your face reveal your next move, you hear me? That's how you outsmart the manipulators, the critics, the backstabbers. Stay poised. Your silence in the middle of a storm speaks louder than 1,000 words. Emotions are natural, but they were never meant to be your master. Anger, jealousy, fear, those are signals, not steering wheels. And if you let them take the wheel, they'll drive you straight into regret. So what do? You train yourself. You learn to breathe before you speak. You learn to observe before you act. You build your ability to delay reaction until your mind, not your feelings, decides what comes next. You turn emotion into fuel, not fire. You channel your pain into purpose. You channel your disappointment into strategy. And when someone tries to provoke you, you remind yourself, I control this moment. I choose how this ends. That right there, that's where true dominance lives. Let me tell you a secret. Real power is self-control. That's why so many people don't have it. It takes more strength to stay calm than to lash out. It takes more character to walk away than to start a war you'll regret. Emotional mastery doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It means you're smart enough to know which battles matter and which ones are just noise. Most of what angers you isn't worth your energy. Most of what disappoints you is simply redirection from God or life telling you that wasn't for you. But if you're too caught up in your feelings, You miss the lesson. And when you miss the lesson, you repeat the mistake. It's not just about walking away from conflict, it's about walking into purpose with a clear head. Because when you're emotionally out of control, your vision is clouded. You can't see opportunities. You can't make good decisions. You'll trust the wrong people, speak out of turn, burn bridges you might have needed later. But when your mind is sharp and your spirit is stable, you're untouchable. You walk through storms like they were sunny days. People throw shade and you grow in it. They underestimate you, and you let their ignorance become your camouflage. Because emotional discipline, that's how you make power moves in silence. Listen, if someone can push your buttons, they can control your life. If they know how to make you angry, they know how to distract you. If they know what triggers your insecurity, they know how to manipulate your decisions. And if they can manipulate your decisions, then you're not living on your terms, you're dancing to their beat. That's not dominance, that's dependence. That's emotional slavery. So you need to start asking yourself, who's really in control here? Is it you or your wounds, your fear, your ego? Get in the driver's seat of your own emotional state. Because you can't lead others. You can't protect what's yours. You can't win this life if you're a prisoner to every mood that comes knocking. I'm not telling you this from a place of perfection. I'm telling you this from experience. You're going to feel like reacting. You're going to want to fight, to scream, to prove yourself. Seriously? But the higher you rise, the more pressure you'll face. The more nonsense will try to pull you in. That's why you've got to develop a mind that's stronger than your emotions. You've got to sit with discomfort and not let it break you. You've got to let go of the need to be understood, validated, praised. Sometimes you'll have to walk away in silence, even though your pride wants to roar. Sometimes you'll have to be the bigger person when everything in you wants to burn it all down. That's what warriors do. And you, my friend, you're built for war. But the battlefield is your mind. So if you want to outsmart anyone, you start by outsmarting yourself. Outsmart your own anger. Outsmart your own ego. Outsmart that little voice inside you that wants revenge instead of victory. Your legacy will not be built by how loud you roared, but by how well you ruled over yourself. So control your emotions and never let them control you. That's not just the first rule to total dominance, it's the foundation that every other rule is built on. Get this right and the world will never play you again. Number 2, learn everything. Speak little. Let me tell you something most people never understand until it's too late. You don't win power by talking, you win power by knowing. There's something sacred about silence, something heavy, something dominant. In a world where everyone is trying to prove something, trying to impress, trying to be seen, the one who says the least often holds the most weight. The world respects wisdom, and wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. When you walk into a room and speak only when necessary, people lean in, they listen. Because when you speak little, everything you say carries more impact. But before you open your mouth, you better make sure you know what you're talking about. You've got to learn everything. Watch the patterns, read the people, study the game, and then say less. Because the one who knows the most and says the least, that's the one who wins. You see, every time you speak unnecessarily, you give away something. Your thoughts, your fears, your strategy, your weakness. People will study your words, pick them apart, use them against you. But if you master the art of holding your tongue, of only speaking when your words are sharp and clear, you remain untouchable. You confuse your enemies. You intrigue your allies, and you guard your peace. It's not about being mysterious. It's about being intentional. It's about being dangerous in your silence. Because people can't manipulate what they don't understand. They can't block moves they don't see coming. And they can't control someone whose mind they can't read. Learn to make your silence louder than their noise. Look, life is a classroom, and every person, every room, every failure is a teacher. But if you're too busy talking, you'll never learn. If you're too eager to be heard, you'll miss the lessons being whispered around you. The smartest people in the room are always listening. They're not trying to impress you. You're trying to assess you. They're watching your tone, your word choices, your energy. They're picking up details, patterns, gaps in your logic. And when they speak, they don't waste breath. Their words are precise, measured, and powerful. That's what you need to be. Stop trying to be the loudest. Be the most aware. Learn to absorb information like a sponge. Be the one who sits back and collects knowledge until the time's right to make a move. And when you do, it's surgical, precise, unforgettable. You want to outsmart anyone, then you need to know more than they think you do and speak less than they expect. That's how you move in silence and strike in strength. Let them underestimate you. Let them assume you're quiet because you don't know. Let them get comfortable. That's where your power begins. In a world addicted to noise, silence is a superpower. But that silence must be backed by deep learning. You've got to read books they're not reading, ask questions they're not asking, watch things they're not paying attention to. Be obsessed with understanding. People, systems, psychology, money, war, peace, success, failure. Knowledge is your armor, your weapon, your compass. But the more you know, the less you need to speak. Because your confidence grows in clarity, not in volume. You ever notice how the most dangerous moves are the ones you never see coming? That's because the people who make them don't talk about them. They learn, they plan, they execute in silence. While others boast about plans they never finish, the smart ones are already 10 steps ahead. Don't be the person who tells everyone what you're working on. Be the person who shows them when it's done. Don't announce your goals, announce your results. Don't explain your mindset, live it. The loud ones need validation. The wise ones already know their worth. When you learn everything and speak little, you preserve your mental energy for what truly matters. Strategy, discipline, execution. That's what sets you apart. Understand this, every word you speak has a cost. It costs time, energy, and sometimes opportunity. It costs you leverage. The more people know about you, the more they can use against you. The less you say, the harder it is for people to get inside your mind. You have to protect your thoughts like you protect your home. You don't leave your door wide open for anyone to walk in, right? Then why do you leave your plans, your dreams, your intentions out there for the world to dissect and distort? Learn to guard your inner world. Speak when your words have purpose. Speak when they carry weight. And when you do speak, let it be with clarity, calmness, and confidence. That's how leaders talk. That's how kings and queens move. Most people think talking is power, but talking is only power when it's backed by knowledge, by discipline, by presence. Without that, it's just noise, and noise fades fast. You want to dominate in this life? Learn everything. Speak little. Be so knowledgeable that your silence intimidates. Be so precise that your few words cut deeper than others' paragraphs. Be so mentally sharp that people come to you for guidance, not gossip. And most importantly, don't let the noise of the world rush you into revealing yourself. Patience is part of strategy. Learning is part of winning. Every second you spend listening instead of talking is a second you grow stronger, smarter, and more prepared. While they're talking, you're transforming. So when you walk into a room, carry yourself like someone who knows more than they say. Don't be in a rush to prove yourself. Don't be desperate to be understood. The world may not see your worth right away, and that's okay. Because when you finally speak, your words will shake the ground beneath them. When you finally move, your actions will leave a legacy. Keep learning, keep sharpening your mind. Speak less, listen more. Because in the end, the quiet student becomes the master. The silent one becomes the storm. And the one who learns everything while speaking little, that's the one nobody sees coming until it's already too late. Number 3, move with precision, not permission. There comes a time in your life when you realize that waiting for someone to validate you is the very thing holding you back. You keep hoping someone will see your worth, open a door, give you a chance. But the truth is, no one's coming to give you permission to rise. You've got to take it. You've got to move like it's already yours, like the opportunity has already been signed, sealed, and delivered. You see, power doesn't belong to the hesitant. Power doesn't belong to the one always looking around for a nod of approval. It belongs to the one who studies the path, sharpens the blade, and steps forward with intention, precision over permission. That's the mindset of those who dominate. You don't ask the world if it's okay to be great. You show the world what greatness looks like. You were not born to beg. You are not designed to wait at the back of the line until somebody waves you forward. When you operate with precision, you don't chase, you choose. You move with purpose, not panic. You don't wait for someone to say go, because you already decided this race belongs to you. Think about it. How many people never start the journey because they're still hoping someone tells them they're ready? The ones who win, they prepare in silence. They study the map, they build in the dark, and when they show up, they're not asking to enter. They're taking their seat at the table. The world steps aside for the one who knows where they're going. You've got to treat your life like a mission, and missions aren't up for debate. When a pilot takes off, they don't ask the passengers if it's okay to fly. They follow a precise path, a focused plan, and they lift off with confidence. That's how you've got to move in your life. No more hesitation, no more self-doubt, no more asking if you're good enough. Start walking like the ground is already yours. Start speaking like your voice has value. Start deciding like your vision deserves to live. Because when you wait for permission, you give your power away. And once power is handed over, it's hard to get it back. But when you move with precision, you keep control in your hands. You lead, you don't follow. You command, you don't request. Let me be clear. Precision is not about being impulsive. It's not about rushing. It's about thinking with clarity, moving with confidence, and executing with excellence. When you move with precision, you've already done the work before anyone sees you. You've trained, you've studied, you've failed and gotten back up. So when you finally take that step, you don't need applause. You've got alignment. You're not moving to impress people. You're moving because you've earned your moment. And that kind of power doesn't ask for attention. It commands it. Your silence becomes strength. Your steps become statements. Your vision becomes undeniable. You don't knock on the door asking to be let in. You build your own door and walk through it. The difference between people who dream and people who dominate is simple. Dominators don't wait for ideal conditions. They don't wait for support, understanding, or applause. They decide, they move, they adjust, they fail forward because they're not looking for comfort. They're chasing clarity. And clarity comes from moving. You find out who you are, not when you're thinking, but when you're doing. When you move with precision, you learn from your missteps and you correct your course. But you never stop, you never stall, you never hand your momentum to someone else. Your path may not be easy, but it will be yours. And that's where freedom lives. Not in perfection, but in purposeful movement. Sometimes the loudest chains are the ones in your own mind. That inner voice that says you need permission, you're not ready, who do you think you are? But that voice is a liar and it will keep you small if you let it. That's why precision matters. When you are focused on your goal, there is no room for that noise. When you are locked into your next step, fear can't find you. You can't be intimidated by rejection when you no longer ask. You can't be crushed by opinions when your mission is bigger than their approval. People might not understand your journey. That's okay. They weren't given your vision. You were. So, honor it. Walk in it. Own it. Greatness doesn't announce itself. It shows up in the consistency of your actions, in the sharpness of your moves, in the discipline behind your decisions. Every day that you take a step without waiting for the world to clap is a day you grow stronger, clearer, bolder. Don't move because it's popular. Move because it's aligned. Don't speak because you want to be heard. Speak because you have something to say. Don't act to impress. Act to impact. When you learn to move with precision, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop chasing and start building. And slowly the world begins to catch up to the power you always had inside of you. So from this moment on, stop waiting. Decide who you are. Decide what you want. Then move. Move. Even if they doubt you. Move even if they mock you. Move even if no one's watching, because eventually they will watch. They'll look back and realize you never asked them for a single thing. And that's what power looks like. You don't demand attention, you command respect. You don't wait to be told it's your turn. You take it with grace, with strength, with precision. Because when you know your worth, you never move timidly again. And when you move like that, you don't just change your life, you change everything. Number 4, turn every setback into strategy. Life is going to hit you. That's a promise. There will be moments where you feel like the wind's been knocked out of your chest, where everything you built comes crashing down in front of you. You'll lose things you thought you couldn't live without: people, opportunities, time. And in those moments, you'll hear a voice inside that says, "Give up, you're done." But listen to me. That's not the end. That's the beginning. Because inside every setback is a seed of wisdom, a seed of growth, a seed of strategy. Pain isn't just punishment, it's preparation. The people who rise to greatness aren't the ones who avoid hardship. They're the ones who take every loss, every delay, every disappointment, and build a plan out of it. They don't let pain paralyze them. They let it sharpen their focus. You've got to stop seeing failure as a dead end. It's not a stop sign. It's a detour with lessons. When you fall, when something breaks, when life tells you no, that's not rejection. That's redirection. You are being pointed towards something deeper, something better. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who've had an easy road. They're the ones who've turned their obstacles into opportunities. They looked at the storm and said, "I will not break. I will build. I will not panic. I will plan." The difference between the defeated and the dangerous is this: defeated people stay down. Dangerous people get back up with more clarity, more hunger, and more strategy. When the door shuts, you don't cry in front of it forever. You study why it closed. You learn how it worked. You figure out how to build a door of your own. That's the strategy. See, setbacks are not there to destroy you. They are showing you what you need to strengthen. If you lost something, ask why. If you were rejected, ask what that pain was trying to teach you. Because pain always points to purpose, and struggle always hides solutions. You can either sit in the ashes of what didn't work, or you can rise from those ashes with a new playbook. But you have to choose. You have to decide. Is this going to define me or refine me? What separates leaders from followers is what they do when life slaps them hard. Do they blame others? Do they give up? Or do they go silent, go inward, and come back with fire? That's where real power lives, in the comeback. And not just any comeback, a calculated one. You study the mistake. You isolate the weakness. You correct the movement you don't repeat. You rewire. You look at the problem and dissect it like a surgeon. You turn every why me into what now. You turn every tear into a tool. That's how winners move. They don't waste their pain, and they weaponize it. Sometimes your setback is the universe's way of breaking your comfort zone wide open. Maybe you were settling. Maybe you were distracted. Maybe you forgot who you are. And it took that loss, that betrayal, that rejection to shake you awake, to force you to recalibrate. Setbacks have a strange way of realigning you with your original vision. Think about it. A bow has to be pulled back before it can fire the arrow. So maybe you're not being pulled apart. Maybe you're being pulled into position. Let that shift your perspective. Let that awaken the strategist within you. You've got to become a student of your own setbacks. Every time life throws a challenge at you, ask yourself, what is this showing me about myself? Maybe you need more discipline. Maybe you need better people around you. Maybe you need to stop depending on validation and start trusting your instincts. The strategy isn't always about changing others. Sometimes the greatest shift comes when you change how you respond. Life will test you again and again, not to crush you, but to prepare you. And every test passed becomes a tool in your arsenal. You become more precise, more confident, more unshakable. Setbacks become stepping stones when you walk over them with strategy. Let me tell you something real. Setbacks don't just hurt, they humble. And humility is the birthplace of wisdom. You start listening more. You start observing more. You stop rushing and start thinking. The setback slows you down, not to stop you, but to make sure you're moving in the right direction. There's beauty in that. There's power in that. The storm didn't come to drown you. It came to teach you how to swim deeper. Every great leader, every champion, every world changer had moments when everything collapsed, but they built again. Not with the same mindset, but with one forged in fire, focused on strategy. And that's exactly how you will rise. So don't waste your suffering. Don't let your breakdown go unused. There's a blueprint hidden in your most painful moments. You've got to dig through the wreckage, find the wisdom, and come back stronger. Because that's what dominance looks like. It's not about having a perfect path. It's about having the courage to turn your wounds into weapons, to make your setbacks part of your story, not your shame. And when the world sees how you moved through the fire and came out with diamonds in your hands, that's when they'll understand. You weren't just surviving, you were strategizing, you were preparing, you were becoming unstoppable. Number 5, be unpredictable. Make no pattern easy to trace. In a world that thrives on routine and predictability, there is unmatched power in being the one nobody can figure out. When people can predict your next move, they control you without lifting a finger. They read your habits. They anticipate your reactions, and suddenly you're not leading anymore. You're reacting. But when you choose to be unpredictable, when you refuse to walk in straight lines or repeat the same emotional scripts, you become untouchable. Your enemies can't attack what they can't track. Your rivals can't copy what they can't understand. The key to dominance in any field, in any room, in any relationship, is mystery. And mystery comes from movement without a map. It's about breaking patterns on purpose. It's about showing up with silence when they expect noise, with strength when they expect weakness, with calm when they expect chaos. Unpredictability doesn't mean being erratic. It means being strategic. You're not out of control. You're just never obvious. Most people live on autopilot. Same thoughts, same responses, same habits, and that makes them easy targets. If someone knows what you'll do next, they'll manipulate your every step. But when you break out of that pattern, when you start thinking for yourself and responding differently than you used to, they get confused. They get nervous. And that's where your power begins. You must be willing to walk away when they think you'll beg. Remain silent when they expect you to explode. Succeed in silence when they're waiting for your downfall. Be the calm in the chaos. Let your peace be unpredictable. The world expects reactions. Give them discipline instead. The world expects patterns. Give them innovation. That's how you keep the upper hand, not through force, but through surprise. Unpredictability is a weapon the world isn't ready for. Because when you're unpredictable, you're in control of the story. You rewrite the rules. You reset the narrative. People don't know how to handle someone who isn't desperate to explain themselves, who doesn't show all their cards, who moves with intention but without announcement. That kind of energy confuses the predictable mind. And the moment you're no longer readable, you're no longer reachable by their manipulations, you disrupt the rhythm they relied on. You're no longer a song they can dance to. You're a storm they can't predict. And that, my friend, is how you become a force. Not a follower, not a pawn, a force. They will call you distant. Let them. They will say you've changed. And they're right. Because the old you was easy to read. The old you reacted emotionally, followed the script, showed up just to be seen. But the new you observe more, you reveal less. You do your thinking in silence, and you're winning in private. You no longer need to respond to every challenge. You don't explain your every move. You let people guess, assume, wonder. And in that space of uncertainty, you gain ground, you dominate. Because every time they try to trap you with a pattern, you show them you've evolved. You've upgraded your operating system, and now you don't play the same game. They just don't know the rules anymore. Even in the battlefield of life, unpredictability is your shield. Think like a general, not a soldier. A general doesn't show all their strategies. A general misleads, misdirects, confuses the enemy, and then strikes with precision. That's you now. Stop giving people roadmaps to your heart. Stop handing out access to your next step. Make them earn it. Keep them on their heels. The people around you may not always have bad intentions, but many will misuse predictable people. They'll take advantage of consistency that has no strategy. But when you're unpredictable, they have to think twice. They hesitate, and in that hesitation, you win. You outmaneuver them without even speaking. Being unpredictable also builds internal strength. It means you've detached from the need to please, the need to be understood at all times. It means you're not addicted to reaction. You're grounded in intention. You don't follow moves, you follow mission. You walk into a room not needing attention because your presence is already doing the work. You don't raise your voice, you raise your standards. That's how you move differently. That's how you confuse the ones who expected the old you to show up. And the beauty of being unpredictable is this: the ones who truly value you won't need constant clarity. They'll respect your growth even when they don't understand it. Let me tell you the truth. Every great disruptor in history was unpredictable. They didn't rise by doing what was expected. They rose by breaking the rhythm, by going left when the world expected right, by staying quiet when everyone else screamed, by showing up differently, thinking differently, moving differently. Unpredictability is not a glitch, it's a design. And it's a design that keeps you in control, because when no one knows your next move, they can't sabotage you. When no one can predict your growth, they can't slow it down. When you move like water, fluid, powerful, untouchable, you don't just avoid the trap, you are the storm that breaks the trap. So stop apologizing for being unreadable. That's not a weakness, it's wisdom. Be kind but not predictable. Be consistent but not pattern. Be powerful but not loud. You don't owe anyone the script of your soul. Your next step, let it be a surprise. Let them guess, let them wait. 'Cause power isn't always loud. It's often silent, strategic, and out of sight. And when the moment is right, when they least expect it, when the world thinks you've settled, you rise without warning, without pattern, without permission. That's how kings move. That's how legends are made. That's how dominance is secured. Not through force alone, but through mystery, through control, through the divine art of being unpredictable. Number 6, win without showing the war. There is a different kind of power, one that doesn't shout, doesn't announce itself with noise, and doesn't need to raise a flag to prove it's in control. It's the power of those who move in silence, who make their victories invisible until they're undeniable. See, real power is not just about domination, it's about discipline. It's about knowing you can win, but choosing to win with such grace that no one even saw the battlefield. The loudest man in the room is often the weakest. The one constantly trying to prove something is usually the one with nothing real to offer. But when you operate from a place of quiet confidence, from deep-rooted certainty, you don't need validation. You don't need to show the war, because you're already winning on a higher level. People may doubt you, let them. They may underestimate you, let them. That's your advantage. They can't defend against a fight they don't see coming. So play the long game. Keep your focus, keep your silence. And when the dust settles, they'll be standing in a battlefield they didn't even know you walked through. And you'll be the last one standing. The mistake most people make is thinking that strength is always loud. But that's surface-level thinking. True strength lies in stillness. It's the restraint to not react when your ego is provoked. It's the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is shaking. It's the calm in your spirit when your name is being dragged through the dirt and you still refuse to roll around in the mud. Because the moment you fight on their level, you lose the war. They want you angry. They want you flustered. They want you emotional. Why? Because emotional people make bad decisions. And when you lose control, you lose power. So instead you smile, you nod, you walk away, and you make your moves where no one can see them. Because that's how real dominance works. It's quiet, it's strategic, and it never fights battles that don't need to be fought. People will push you, life will test you, they will throw rumors, lies, betrayal your way, and the world will whisper in your ear, clap back, respond, expose them. But that's not the way of the wise. That's not the way of the dominance. You don't respond to ants when you're walking with giants. You don't stop to throw stones at every barking dog when you're headed toward a throne. Silence is not weakness. It's warfare. It's choosing which battles matter and letting the rest fall into the shadows of irrelevance. Your energy is precious. Don't waste it trying to prove what only time can reveal. Because when it's all said and done, the truth doesn't need defending. It stands tall on its own. There is power in letting your success speak louder than your emotions, in letting your consistency drown out their gossip. Let your growth be your revenge. Let your peace be your answer. Let your character refined in private, tested in silence. Speak when they expect you to break. Your silence should never be mistaken for surrender. It is in fact the preparation room of legends. While they're arguing, while they're mocking, you're mastering. While they're watching, you're working. Because war doesn't need to be televised. And real warriors don't fight for an audience. They fight for legacy. And legacy is not built through reaction. It's built through resilience, through patience, through relentless focus on the mission. The highest level of power is self-mastery. And self-mastery means you no longer need to show people who you are. They will feel it when you walk in the room. Your presence, your discipline, your results will do all the talking. That's why it's dangerous to challenge someone who doesn't need to be loud. They've been forged in fire. They've seen storms you couldn't survive. They've bled in silence. They've healed without applause, and now they walk with the weight of wisdom and the quiet confidence of someone who's already won. You don't need to prove your worth to people who can't recognize value. You don't need to explain yourself to people who aren't listening. You just need to keep building, keep growing, and let the silence build the legend. You ever notice how the most dangerous ones are the quiet ones? That's not a myth, that's truth, rooted in mastery. The ones who observe more than they speak, the ones who don't chase validation, the ones who can walk away from chaos without leaving a footprint. They're not avoiding the fight. They've already calculated the cost. They know not every shot fired deserves a return. Some deserve silence. Some deserve grace. Some deserve the smile of a man who's already ahead. That's how you win. Not by fighting every fool who throws shade, but by becoming so bright they can't stand the light. You rise while they rant. You flourish while they fumble. You dominate without ever needing to declare war. To win without showing the war, you must master restraint. That means not reacting to every opinion. That means keeping your inner circle small and sacred. That means letting go of the need to explain your journey to people who never had the vision in the first place. You move quietly because your mission is louder than your mouth. You move with intent, not impulse. And when you do this long enough, people start to notice something different about you. You're not easily moved. You're not thrown off balance. You're not desperate for recognition. That's because you're anchored. You're focused. You've tasted purpose. And now, no amount of pettiness can pull you off your path. This mindset changes how you walk, how you talk, how you engage. You no longer respond to disrespect. You rise above it. You no longer chase people. You attract what aligns. You no longer argue. You observe. That's the level most never reach because they're still reacting, still trying to be seen, still trying to win arguments instead of winning the war. But the few who rise above that noise, they create a silence so loud it shakes foundation. They leave a legacy not by shouting, but by showing. They write their story not with words, but with their works. And that kind of story, it lasts longer than any headline, any rumor, any fleeting judgment. Here's the truth. If they can provoke you, they can control you. But when you stop responding, you stop being their puppet. You break the cycle. You change the narrative. You flip the script from reaction to reflection. And that space between their action and your non-reaction, that's where your power grows. That's where the storm calms. That's where you become unstoppable. Because the person who cannot be provoked cannot be defeated. They move on principle, not pressure. They act with purpose, not pain. They win not just by reaching the top, but by refusing to be pulled down by those beneath their calling. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It doesn't mean you don't hurt. It means you've decided your purpose is more important than your pride. You've chosen legacy over ego. And that choice, that decision to stay focused when distractions surround you, that's the war most people lose. But not you, because now you know. The loudest noise often comes from the weakest hearts, and the strongest warriors are often the quietest in the room. The ones who've learned that peace is not passive, it's power and dominance. It's not about crushing people, It's about controlling your direction so completely that no attack, no insult, no betrayal can pull you off course. So let the world watch. Let them whisper. Let them wonder what you're up to. Good. That means they don't know. That means your next move is protected. That means your elevation is silent. And when your work finally speaks, when your success finally shows, when your breakthrough finally breaks through, there will be no debate, no explanation needed, just results. Just impact, just victory. And they'll look around asking, how did he do it? And the answer will echo in your silence. You won the war they never saw. And that, my friend, is how you outsmart everyone. That's how you dominate with dignity. That's how you master the game without ever needing to play it loud. So walk forward now, quiet, focused, unshakable, because the world may not see the war, but they will feel the victory. Let me tell you something. If you've made it this far, you are not like most people. You didn't just come here for motivation. You came here for transformation. You didn't just want words. You wanted fire. You've been shown how to think different, move different, act with power, and carry yourself like someone who doesn't ask for respect but commands it with every step. We started this journey by tapping into something raw, something real. How to outsmart anyone. Not for ego, not to crush others, but to rise above the games they play. To become so centered, so composed, so intentional that no one can pull you into their chaos. Because dominance isn't noise, it's clarity. It's the man who doesn't break under pressure, the woman who doesn't fold when the heat rises. It's the soul that keeps moving forward even when the whole world tries to hold them back. You were told to control your emotions, because if you don't, they will control you. That's where your discipline starts, because power without control is just destruction. You learn to master what's inside before you ever try to move what's outside. The game changer is not who can shout the loudest. It's who can stay calm when the storm hits hardest. That's what separates leaders from followers, kings from pawns, titans from the average. Then you were reminded to learn everything but speak little. That's the weapon they never see coming. Your silence, your quiet preparation. While they talk, you study. While they guess, you observe. While they rush, you calculate. You absorb it all like a sponge. But you only speak when it matters. You don't waste your voice. You speak with weight. And when you do, the room listens. That's influence. That's power with purpose. You were told to stop asking for permission and start moving with precision. Too many people wait for a green light that's never coming. But you light your own path. You don't wait to be picked. You don't beg for a seat at the table. You build your own table, because nothing changes until you decide it's time to move. And when you move with purpose, with strategy, with sharp intent, there is no door that can stay closed. There is no gatekeeper who can hold you back. They won't understand you, and that's exactly the point. And when the world throws setbacks at you, you don't crumble. You adapt. You turn every loss into a lesson, every betrayal into a blueprint, every closed door into a new design. You were never meant to be stopped. You were meant to be redirected. Because setbacks, they're not punishment. They're preparation. They are sharpening you, humbling you, forcing you to look deeper and climb higher. You take that pain and you alchemize it into power. You don't just bounce back, you bounce forward, wiser, sharper. Then came the secret that breaks every pattern. Be unpredictable. Let them think they've figured you out. Let them build a script in their minds about how you'll respond. Then flip the entire narrative, move in ways they can't calculate, disappear when they expect a show, speak when they expect silence, build while they expect you to break. Because when people can't predict you, they can't control you. You stay dangerous by staying mysterious. Your moves become magic. Your life becomes legend. And finally, the master key. Win without showing the war. That's the top floor of this whole game. That's elite level thinking. You don't need to announce your plans, your pain, your victories, or your strategy. You move in silence. You train in secret. You evolve in shadows. And when the light hits, you're already standing on the mountaintop. And they don't even know how you got there. You didn't fight for the crowd. You fought for the crown, quietly, relentlessly, and now you wear it not with pride, but with peace. Every lesson you've been given here is a weapon But the question is, will you wield it? Will you apply it? Will you become the kind of person who doesn't just listen but leads? The kind who doesn't react but responds with power? Will you step into a life where no one else gets to define your worth, your path, or your purpose? This world is full of noise, full of manipulation, full of distractions. But now you know better. Now you walk different. You're sharper, calmer, stronger, more dangerous. And not because of what you say, but because of what you've built in silence, because of what you've endured without breaking, because of who you've become when no one was watching. So as you walk away from this moment, don't just feel inspired, be transformed. Let these words echo inside your spirit when doubt creeps in. Let them ground you when the world gets loud. Let them elevate you when people try to pull you down. You are no longer at the mercy of others. You are no longer someone waiting to be chosen. You are the architect now, the strategist, the quiet storm. Thank you for listening. Thank you for walking this path with me. I hope you walk into your future with your head high, your soul grounded, and your fire burning. Now go be the force they never saw coming. Go be the calm in the chaos. Go be the silent power that can't be stopped. God bless you. Stay focused. Stay fearless. And remember, you don't need to shout to be heard. Your presence, your purpose, your power will speak for